Уважаемые коллеги, добрый день. Уважаемые коллеги, молодые специалисты, энергетики, студенты, мы приветствуем вас на международном треке проекта Energy Talks. Данный проект был инициирован Минэнерго России с целью сформировать для студентов и молодых специалистов пространство, где можно обмениваться знаниями, мнениями, опытом, чтобы был открытый диалог со спикерами. Каждая встреча дает возможность познакомиться с реальным опытом уже работающих коллег и смоделировать свою карьерную стратегию. На реальных кейсах понять, что такое энергетика в России, что такое энергетика в мире. Сегодня у нас спикер из крупнейшей электросетевой компании мира от государственной электросетевой корпорации Китая с большим опытом ведения проектов по всему миру. Таким образом, сегодня мы будем обсуждать электроэнергетику не с точки зрения технологических аспектов, а с точки зрения бизнеса, экономики и развития, наверное, даже, как это называется, нетарифных услуг или выхода на международные рынки, пускай будет даже сетевых проектов. Современные российско-китайские отношения официально определяются сторонами как отношения всеобъемлющего партнерства и стратегического взаимодействия, вступающие в новую эпоху. 2021 год является особенным для российско-китайских отношений, так как стороны отмечают 20-летие с момента подписания договора о добрососедстве, дружбе и сотрудничестве между Российской Федерацией и Китайской Народной Республикой. Безусловно, если мы берем наши народы, то взаимодействие у нас многовековое. Интенсивно развивается двусторонний диалог и в отрасли энергетики на самом высоком уровне. К примеру, в этом месяце, в мае, глава государства Владимир Путин совместно с председателем Китайской Народной Республики Си Цзиньпином в формате видеоконференции принял участие в торжественной церемонии по случаю начала сооружения 7-8 блоков Тайваньской атомной электростанции 3 и 4 блоков АЭС Сюйдапу в Китае. Ежегодно Россия экспортирует в Китай 3 миллиарда киловатт-часов электроэнергии. Российские электроэнергетические компании имеют многолетнюю историю сотрудничества, начиная с момента, когда при Советском Союзе мы помогали организовывать структуру электроэнергетики и рыночные, скажем, условия для Китая, до современного обмена опытом по инновациям и цифровой трансформации. Поэтому я благодарю вас за то, что вы нашли время послушать нашего спикера с огромным опытом. Он сам себя представит и расскажет. Поэтому приступаем. So, Mr. Оу Сяоминь,
Yes.
I introduced you, and I'm very glad that you are here, and we can start. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ernest, for your introduction. First of all, I would like to say it's my great honor to be here to give this have this conversation with all of the students. And I apologize for keep you waiting for almost 45 minutes, 40 minutes for connection. So IT system definitely is a really good thing, but sometimes it's make problem. So I apologize about that. Okay, I would like to keep this conversation regarding the SGGC's international business and outlook in the power industry. Before that, I would like to introduce the content of my presentation. I have to apologize. I have been in Russia for 5 years. Unfortunately, I still cannot speak Russian. That's why I speak English today. So please leave your questions in the chat box. And if you have anything you want me to repeat, or you can just start the Q&A session, the last part, you can have an interaction regarding the presentation. The contents, including the 3 parts. The first part will be the power industry in China and Russia. And the second part will be the great SGCC is refers to State Grid Corporation of China, State Grid and its international business. And part number 3 is outlook in the power industry. My presentation will probably take 30 minutes. Hopefully, you can make it shorter, and then we have more time to discuss about it. But during my presentation, I also will have 3 interactional questions. So you probably can just answer the questions in the chat box. Let me try. I think this is a chat box, right? And I just test it. I think if it's working. If you can see the test, then it works, okay? And then follow up by the Q&A. As I'll not just introduce me, and I appreciate that you could also introduce yourself in the chat box. You can see my face, you can see beautiful Anna's face, but you know, I cannot see your face. I'm thinking I'm talking to the, you know, robots. I'm talking to the computer. And you appreciate if you can leave your name, your age, your major, and your school. For example, if you're Alexander, you will say, okay, I'm Alexander, 22, electronic engineer from MEI. I really appreciate you can do that. So let me just know a little bit about you, or you can just ignore it. And we're going to start my presentation. Sorry. What, it doesn't work. It's working. All right. Okay, this is my profile. I got my BA, you know, the bachelor, and from the People's University of China, and I got my MBA program in the Chicago Boost. Also, I'm the candidate of a CFA. I passed the CFA number 1. I'm still pursuing the CFA number 2. I have very simple but very abundant working experience. I have been in the power industry for more than 20 years, and 18 of the 20 years I have been working in, you know, overseas in different countries. The first country I've been in Israel in the 1996, and then I've moved to the Cambodia, Kingdom of Cambodia, and then I've becoming the CFO of the biotech company. And later on, I played the role in the international division of State Grid, and then I have moved to Brazil to be the senior vice president. Before I came to Russia, I've been working in Africa also for 2 years. And then in the year 2015, I moved to Russia, the beautiful country. That's why I also had the chance to meet all of you. I'm a mountaineering enthusiast. I have climbed the mountain Elbrus 5 times. Climbed Mount Elbrus 5 times. I'm going to Mount Elbrus again this year, maybe next month. If you guys want to come with me, I'll be very happy to have you as a partner. And the highest peak is Mount Muztagh Alta in China, 7,562. And I run marathon, and I'm a photographer. All right, so let's come to the topic. The first topic is the power system in China. I don't know how many of you have you been to China before, and or maybe you are. All right, great. Someone left his messages. Okay. And China's power system actually was established in the 1950s, and with the help of the Soviet Union. That definitely everybody knows. But in the year 1998, the power system transferred from the government department to the company. And in the 2002, the power system in China went through the vertical unbundling from the utility united power system unbounded to the power generation, power transmission, power distribution, and the power dispatching and power trading. I understand that Russia also did the same unbundling reforming in the year 2008. Indeed, China had 6 years earlier and to unbound our system. but we are still ongoing. So our process is moving very slowly. And so for now, the reforming system is still ongoing. For now, the power market is independent power generation company, and also including the T&D, transmission and distribution company. State grid is one of the power transmission distribution company. And the tariff is actually set up by the government. But right now, we are entering into the power market. In the future, the tariff will probably just come from the market competition. The companies are regulated. The power system is regulated by the NEA, it's the National Energy Administration. We don't have a Ministry of Energy. And the tariff at this moment is $0.1 per kilowatt hour, and also remained non-changing. It's a 0.1% changing within the past 10 years. Let's talk about the power system in China, between China and Russia. Just give you some impression what the difference of the China's system with the Russian system. In China, the installed capacity is 2,200 gigawatts. It's a 30% of the global capacity, and the annual power generated is 7,620 gigawatt hour. Is accounted 28% of the the total power generated globally, subject to a huge number of the population. 56% of the power capacity is from the thermal, generally from the coal-fired. That's actually the huge difference. And there are also 66% of the power generated from the thermal power in Russia, but you have a gas, you have a natural gas. But for us, for China, generally we have the coal fire. The transmission line has been improving since the 21st century. The length of transmission line over 220 from is already almost 800,000 kilometers, and the highest voltage is 1,000 kV AC and plus minus 1,100 kV DC and plus minus 800 kV DC2. State Grid is the only company in the world to operate both UHV, ultra high voltage transmission AC line and the DC line, with the line losses of 5.86%. The right side is also the number about Russia. Russia actually also did a great job in the last century. Russia is also the leading company in the power system and built up the 1,000 kV AC line in the 20th centuries. But my understanding the transmission line is actually degraded, so it's remain 500 kV running. And the line loss is 8.8 in Russia, but it's still improving. As just mentioned, State Grid is one of the company running the transmission line. It's founded in the 2002, following up the reforming and the transformation of the power system, and registered in Beijing. And we covered the business in 26 provinces of the 31 provinces in China, with the 88% of the territory. We served for 1.1 billion population in China, and my company has a 1.5 million employees, and that's really huge number of it. State Grid has been ranked number 3 global Fortune 500 in 2020, and is the largest power utilities company in the world. Besides of the size of the company has been went through the the innovations and our corporate strategies. State Grid have been running the 14 AC and the 12 DC UHV transmission line with total 41,000 kilometers, and we have been engaging to the smart grid starting for more than 10 years. And I have some information later to just give some information, to give some impression on that. The corporate already focusing on T&D corporation, but we are also involved in the finance, international business, imaging, and the supportive and business. All right, I have the question number one for Intact. I hope you guys can leave your answer. Thank you for you leaving your name and the information. Wow, you guys are 20, 20, 25, 18. Okay, great. And I'm really, admire your young age. And I still remember when I was 22, when I first time step out from China to the Middle East, I was, I was really young. But now, okay, so I have a question number one. What's below the answer of the characters of a powerful company like a State Grid or Rosetti? This is the multiple options. It's a only transmission and distribution company, or it's a natural monopoly. It's a with a social responsibility. It's a utility company, or it's dedicated in renewable energy application. The number F is above, or the G is none. So please choose your answer and leave it in the chat box. And I would love to discuss with you. How would you like to think about the power grid company in 21st century? There's no doubt, last century, the company like State Grid and Rosetti, we are only the transmission and distribution company. But now, I think it's changing. What have changed? The UHV. Just I mentioned, State Grid are running the UHV transmission line since last year. And we have a 14 AC line, 11 DC line, and that's the one DC line is a 1,100 kV DC line. The capacity the capacity of transmission can carry 12 gigawatt and for 3,000 kilometers. If you can see from here, the long. Let me try. Yeah, I think I can right here. Can you see that? Yeah, this is from Xinjiang province. These lines come to almost to Shanghai. This line will be the largest 1,100 kV UHV DC line, and with a capacity of 12 gigawatt, and the total length is 3,000 kilometers. Why UHV? Because we will have a different, resource allocation. The western part of China with a lot of abundant natural resource, gas, oil, coal, but the users located in the eastern part of China. From this point of view, either transmit the coal or oil or gas from western side of China to the eastern side of China, or we can transmit the power from western to east. We choose the later option. That's why we built up UHV from the energy resource allocation concern. Second, environmental concern. As I just mentioned, that 56% of the thermal from in China actually is from the coal fire, which is really polluted, and with the sulfur and CO2 emission. We would like to just transmit the power instead of transmit the coal and burn the coal in the city center. So for this reason, also we built the UHV. And the third concern is the electric economy concern. UHV has a much more higher efficiency compared with the traditional high voltage transmission line, which accounts 66% of a cost per unit capacity, and 33% of transmission loss, and also from the floor space occupation is also 33, 1/3 of the the occupation flow of the HV high voltage transmission line. The second, EV chargers and the EV monitor platform. Probably you will say, oh, this is a transmission company. You just transmit power. What's the problem with you to doing the electricity vehicle? Is there any connection with that? For us, we want to give the answer is yes. You can see that State Grid already built on our own the charging system in China. We have built 90,000 charger piles in China, and every year we keep 20% of increasing of the charging piles. You can find the charging system right now in China is already more than 322,000 pieces of the charging piles altogether in China. Most of them are located in the east part of China, with the provider service for electric vehicles. You guys probably know Tesla, the leading electricity vehicles. Tesla has a plant, has a manufacturer in Shanghai, with the total annual products is something like 500,000 electricity cars produced in Shanghai. And then the charging system is actually highly required, and you don't want to just drive in the electricity car in the highway, so you have no place to charge your power, right? But actually, in China, there's a lot of charging piles along with the highway, and that's okay, make you safely to driving in the highway. Besides of the pile, we also provide the smart internet of the vehicle system, what we call IOV. What is that? What is the IOV? You have even heard about the IoT. Oh, what it doesn't present it? There. All right. You probably hear about the IoT, Internet of the Thing, but we use the same philosophy to build up the IOV to connect all 300,000 pieces of the charging piles around China to make sure we can tracking the working system of this charging system. It's supported by the modern technology such as the artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and the energy storage. And we use the big data to present and the characters of the IOV. Through this IOV platform, we can provide the charging service. We can just provide the charging facility operation and the maintenance and equipment access, users payment. From here, you can see that this is a QR card. Using a mobile phone, you can just use a mobile phone to charge your car, and you can pay the tariff through the mobile phone. I usually don't carry cash in China. I have never ever used cash for a long time. I don't need to use cash. I have a mobile phone, that's everything. But if unfortunately I lost the mobile phone, that's gonna be a big problem for me. And with this system, we also can just to rent and sell the car through to tracked by the system, and we can also track the travel services and other comprehensive services. From a security concern, if there's any car has any problem anywhere, we are easily to identify where the car is located, because the system can locate each car once it's get the charging from the system. In the smart grid and the digitalization, I think everyone is talking about smart grid and the digitalization, and that people have a different understanding what is smart grid. Is that smart grid only make the power grid smart? I don't think so. I think the smart grid is making the power system from power generation, power transmission, power distribution, power trading, power interaction to be smart. What is the different definition of the smart? I think without digitalization transformation, that's got nothing to do with the smart. That's why what we have doing 10 years ago, State Grid already proposed to develop the smart grid plan, and we spent 5 years for the first construction phase, and another 5 years to enforce a strong and a smart power grid. One side is UHV transmission line connect with the renewable energy. The other side is a smart system to connect it in order to allow more renewable energy to be accessible. And from this year, the digitalization application is started in China to what we call the second phase of the transformation. All right, so what is going to be the digitalization? Our definition is the transform from the operation of the massive physical assets to the massive digital assets, data assets. So State Grid not only manage and operate the physical assets, transmission line, the iron tower, substation, switch gears. We are running the numbers. We are running the data of the assets. That's going to be make our our system more smart, becoming a data service company instead of only the transmission company. And we will rely on this data to what? To build a rich energy interconnection industry ecosystem. Why we have to use smart grid? Because we need to use the renewable energy. As we know that renewable energy is not reliable, it's not sustainable. It's coming in the morning, or maybe it's gone in the afternoon. But we are not happy with the fluctuation of the power supply. We want them to be very stable. One side, we have this kind of other system. Later, I will give you some introduction. But another side, we have to manage those systems, make sure the power system supply sustainably. By using the big data and the cloud technology and IoT, artificial interaction, mobile internet, 5G technology, we can allow our system more available and smarter. You have to imagine there's no physical people working in our substation. We are remote control them. People use the mobile phone to control the system to make sure the system working well. It's big change. It's big change. It's allowed everyone to access the system to see what happened in the substation without going inside the station. You can be somewhere probably 50, 100 kilometers away from there, and you can stay home and you can understand all the working process of the substation, and you can give the instruction. That allows this, remote controlling and available. Sorry, this is a picture I had no chance to translate it into Chinese, but by using the smart grid, we already accessed 2 million transmission power generators connected, including the wind farm and the solar farm. And the total capacity is a 459 gigawatt. And we allowed 97% of the renewable energy to be accessible in the power system. Even the renewable energy in the Tibet or in the Xinjiang province is probably 3,000 kilometers far from us, from Beijing, but we still have this power. When you are in Shanghai, China, when you turn on the light, probably the electricity comes not from Shanghai, it's from Xinjiang or Tibet. It's a renewable energy. Now it's available in China. And also we provide 1.2 million working opportunity for social city for China, and it's also our social responsibility. Let's talk about the last point is what we call power storage. I just mentioned renewable energy is not reliable, it's not sustainable, but our power system request is very stable. In order to meet this requirement, the power storage system and combined with a solar system and wind farm through the smart grid, and we built a power plant and in somewhere 300 kilometers far from Beijing, what we call Zhangbei. This is a pilot project, and it's located in the Olympic 2022 Olympic game area. Next year, your Russian athlete sportsmen will go to China to compete in the Olympic game, they are using the power from this facility with a wind farm, solar, power storage, and smart grid connected with our Olympic game. That's actually amazing things. We have to think about it. We are not using the traditional power to pollute our air, but now we are using the renewable energy. This pilot project has been put into operation and it's working so well for now. Okay, question number 2. Let me see if there's anyone already answered question number. Okay, there's three of you. A, E, C, E. Okay. There's a big problem with that. Emergency automation and the control and the depletion control in terms of this. Yeah. Okay, that's a very good question, but I have to let you know, I'm a financial background. I'm not an engineer. I'm not able to answer this question, but I will bring it back and give you an answer later. And my expert will give you the answer. Could you please briefly tell me about the power system development process for the new capacity transmission line and development plan for whole country or for region? All right, this is a big process. The process basically including, first of all, you have to make a plan. Right now, we are in the 14th, 5th plan. Each 5 year, we have a plan to develop our power generation. How many kilowatt power generation will be built? How many kilometers of a power transmission will be built? The government will make this conclusion and publish to the public. Past the 10 years, even 15 years, we remain about 7 to 10% of our power generation capacity increasing annually. It accounts something like 100 gigawatt, power generation per year established in China is something like a 1/3 of a total capacity in Russia. So every year, there's a new capacity established, developed in China, which accounts 1/3 of the total capacity in Russia. And the power transmission basically is focusing on how can we connect with renewable energy. We have to make a proposal. Government will approve the proposal, and then we build it. Every year, let me think the number is something like a $70 billion total, $70 billion total capex, total the investment money will be spent annually to build up the power transmission line to connect places with the power resource to the power demanding center. And the next phase will be some information will become later about renewable energy. So tell me, if you are the executive of SIGRE, if you are the chairman of SIGRE, if you're general manager of a university, what are the motivation for your company to commit to global strategy? I just give some slides about our inland business, domestic business. Power company, right? You provide the power to who? To you user, to the client, household, factory, commercial, offices, transportation, right? And particularly your transmission company, you're just doing the transmission like a highway. You're just building the highway. You're allow the car to go through. You're building transmission line, allow the electricity to go through. So what's problem to you to do with international business? What's your global strategy? What's your motivation? If you guys have a 30 seconds to think about it, and please write your answer in the chat box. Okay, let me give you my answer before you start it, or meanwhile, you can just think over and give me your comments. SIGRE has been engaging into international business since 10 years ago. Actually, 13 years ago, 2008. I personally started doing the business from 1996 and 18 years working overseas. But the group strategy started from 2008. So I took this opportunity to be experienced person and had the chance to lead this international business for a couple of time and until now. Our global strategy is actually in order to pursue the leading technical position and enhance our international communication with peers like in Russia with Rosati, in Iran, and EM Plus, and some other our colleagues. But globally, there's hundreds, thousands of peers, and the peers, we are keep the connection with them, and also in order to expand our international business globally. And from a government perspective, there's a Belt and the Road Initiative, and we are also using our UHVDC transmission line to synergize with the local demand. For example, in Brazil, since China already built our UHVDC transmission line, Brazil also followed up, and State Grid partnered with Brazilian local partners and built the the two UHVDC transmission line in Brazil to interconnect with the third largest hydropower plant, Belo Monte. And social responsibility as well. Given the State Grid is a state-owned company and we are the utilities, we are providing the power. We can do whatever we can do to help the people start from the starving to be the rich by providing the power. I have been working in Africa for 3 years. You know, Africa, there are 1 billion population in Africa. 90% of them are really under the poverty, and 70% of the people in Africa have no way to access the power. They still don't have the power in 21st century. Can you imagine that? 70% of the population, which means a 700 million population, they don't have the electricity. They have no television. They have no, refrigerators. They have no mobile phone. That's crazy in 21st century because they don't have the power. People probably will say, hey, because they are in the desert, there's no power to supply it. I will say, wrong. Africa has abundant hydro resources. They have a Nile River, they have a Congo River, they have a Kenya River, they have a lot big river, even more hydro resources. The most abundant hydro resource in the world, but they don't have the money to build a dam, to build the power plant, to supply the power. They don't have money for the infrastructures. They don't have the commercial model to attract the investor to invest the money to help them to get them electrification. That's very bad. 700 million population, they don't have the power. State Grid is working on that. Later, I will show you what we have done in Africa. Of course, as a company, we also pursue the actual profit. And from the standard perspective, we also apply our standard technology from the perspective. Let me check the chat box. One guy already given me. If I would develop renewable energy sources, wind, solar, and the temperature. Very good. Okay, I will do the same. I really love it. And the State Grid also engages the international renewable energy in Brazil. Later, I will talk about that. Our international business will be more focusing on the coal business, which means the T&D, transmission line, and some places also is combined with the gas pipeline. And for example, in Australia and Italy. All right, we see that renewable energy project. One of our projects, CEFL, is also interconnected renewable energy is with connected with the wind farm, and that's actually exactly what we are doing right now. Some hydropower generation and the manufacturing of electric instrument. In order to make sure that mitigate the risk, we also control the risk. We have to choose a country. First of all, State Grid is a risk neutral policy. we have to choose a country with a reasonable sovereign rating. And the traditional power grid business is working well. And in the developed and the image market, in the sound legal system, low political risks, and the hard currency where it's priority, like Australia and Italy, they use the euro and the Australian dollars. That's to mitigate the currency risks. And also local bank loan is mitigate the currency as well. There's actually the deadline for our business strategy. We have been engaging into the strategy in a cross-border M&A overseas and overseas EPC and the equipment sales. And I'm going to only focus on these two sectors. Oops, sometimes doesn't work. STAGRAD's international division will be led by the headquarters and regulated by the Department of International Cooperation. We including international business and including international cooperation. The role of the international department is exactly the role the honor is playing right now in Rossetti. And in order to realize the achievement, and we have our platforms for M&A project. We actually have an SGID, it's a state-grade international development company to carry out the overseas M&A business, and the CET will carry out the EPC project. That's what we have done globally. For M&A projects, we have already had 12 M&A project companies in 11 countries, except China. And Italy, we inject a 35% stake with a 2.4 billion euros, US dollars, I'm sorry. And Greece also is a 360 US dollars. And in the Middle East, Hong Kong, Philippines, and this is from Australia and Brazil. Recently, we acquired the project in Chile. In Chile, it's totally something like a 5 billion US dollars. Brazil, we already injected 8.8 billion US dollars over there. Unfortunately, we still have no footprint investment in Russia yet. One day, maybe. Let's work together, work very hard. We still don't have a business in North America. You probably will tell me why. STAGRAD, as a Chinese company, there's also no business in North America. I think it's easy to answer, political reasons. And the global footprint about EPC project. Oh, I forgot to say, what is the EPC? Do you know, guys? Do you guys know what is EPC stand for? Engineering, procurement, and construction. Basically, we call this the EPC. And CET is our company to focusing on the EPC project globally. The past 8 years, CET already obtained a great achievement in the EPC sector. They already completed 25 EPC projects within 10 countries on BOOT basis or EPC basis. That's another point. I have to really tell you what is BOOT. Build, operate, own, and transfer. We have spent our own money to build it. We operate it for 25 years or 30 years, subject to agreement and negotiation. We own these assets for 25 or 30 years, and we transferred it to the local government with a very low money, which means the investor, like a CET, will get the feedback, will get the returns through the operation of the assets, and the local government will get this facility and infrastructure after 20 or 25 years, almost for free. Usually, they will pay us for only $1. $1 for one project, take it away. And we have some footprints globally. Unfortunately, most of them located in the Middle East, Africa, Southern Asia, and Latin America. We also still don't have a business in the North America and Australia, even in the Europe. And there are a couple of projects we have been working on. I have to really mention here, Belamonte is the place I just mentioned, plus 800 kV UHVDC transmission line. And some other project, 500 kV transmission line. This is a 600 megawatt back-to-back, Turkey converted substation. And the smart meters project in Saudi Arabia. In Nepal is a 220 kV substation. In Pakistan, it's a BOOT project, plus minus 660 kV DC transmission line. I made some statistics about our project. You can see those are a lot of numbers. For M&A projects have been listed here, 12 projects in the 11 countries. EPC project at here, 25 projects within the 2 countries. And the M&A, sorry, what is M&A? Yes, merge and acquisition. So which means you invest money to buy the company instead of to do the business with them. Invest money to buy the stake of the company, the share of the company, to run the company you own, to make the generate cash flow. And from this analysis, we can see 44% of our investors invest money and focusing on the developed country, and 7% focusing on the developing country, and almost 50% in the image countries like Brazil, India, and something like that. And from a territory diversification, most of them in the Latin America, South America, and 0 in the North America, 0 in Africa. Probably you will ask why there's 0 in Africa. As I just mentioned, nobody would like to invest money in Africa without the commercial model, without the reasonable return. EPC project is also the same, but the different story. If the EPC project is a 63%, BOOT project is 80%, and the EPC plus finance. What is the EPC plus finance? We do the project. We also help them with the financing. We provide the lending financing to the owner of the project, and we do the project. They pay us the money back. From the territory diversification, 37% from in Asia and 8% in Africa, and 24% in Southern America, but there's nothing to do in North America. All right, so I think we made as one of the member of the international division, I think we did a great job in the past 10 years. There are some indicators I would like to share with you. The total equity investors is at $23.2 million US. You probably know the BlackRock. This is a company, investment company, and actually the assets under their management is probably just a 2 million. State Grid has even more, assets under management to 23.2 million US. With the annual ROI is 8% and the ROE is 70%. What is the ROI? Right? You have $100, I can get $8 back every year. What is the ROE? Within the 100 US, 20% or 30% is your own money, and the 70% probably you get money from the bank. From this point of view, if you only count your own money, 20 or 30% of the what we call equity, we have a 8%, 18% of a return on equity. We are managing 30 to 31,000 employees overseas with only 140 Chinese. And the M&A business contribute to our gross profit is 20%, and the group rate of net income is 23%. This is pretty high. I can say, after 10 years, we made a great achievement. I will tell you why. I will tell you why we made this a great achievement. From EPC perspective, the annual average profit is 15%, and the profit contributor group profit is 3%, and the annual growth rate is 10%. So what the reason we can make this a project? I would like to say good opportunity, good management, talent people. First of all, State Grid maintain the long-term strategy and the localization strategy, and we are exact our social responsibility wherever we have our project. For example, in Brazil, we also sponsor local school. Annually, we sponsor something like I cannot remember how much money, something like 200,000 US dollars every year to sponsor the money to the school to help those students of the school to practice music instrument, which is allow them stay away from the drug dealer. You know, Brazil is a place with a lot of drug business, and we provide some money for them to play something else. Let them just stay away from the drug business. And opportunities that past 10 years, if you still remember, in the year 2008, this is a global economic crisis. In the 2012, it's a European debt crisis. And be very honestly, the crisis is horrible, it's awful, but it's also provide opportunity to expand our business. So by this chance, some country, in order to raise the money, they sell their infrastructure facilities to the market, and we had the chance to buy it and run the business, which allowed the mutual benefit to the government and my company. And risk control is one of the factors to make sure we are actually very stable business and reasonable growth within the 10 years. And definitely we have a very talented team, professional people to help us with the M&A. And some of our colleagues are from the United States, and they all get some education from abroad. And I still have managers, some high level management from MEI from Russia as well. And we also cooperate with the top class advisor, the international advisor, financial advisor, legal advisor to mitigate of the risks. Of course, the talent management will be the priority issues, right? Priority, the factors allows this business running well. This is the art of the war. Xuanzi is the strategic, warrior in very old China. And there's a book, what we call the art of the war. Actually, in Chinese, we call it the 孙子兵法. And this mentioned 天时地利人和三者不得，虽胜有殃. What that mean? What's that meaning? It means you have the favorable climate, and you have a geography conditions and the utility of the people, the business will get done. I think this is a kind of smart philosophy, and I think it's really applicable for our international business. Then we are running to the last part of this. Oh, sorry, our footprint in Russia. We signed the the agreement with Interrail to buy power from Russia. From here, you can see this is Russia, this is China. There's a 3 connection transmission line interconnected between Russia and China. And we buy 3.1 TWh annually from Russia to China, and the contract runs for 25 years with a total 100 TWh power trading. Right now it's only the 8 years, and every year we remain the stable trading volume every year from Russia to China through this transmission line. This project actually gives a mutual benefit, provides China clean energy and with a reasonable price, sustainable power transmission, and a benefit for Russian people in the Far East area, and also is a benefit for carbon deduction. Another potential project, which is between State Grid and России. A memorandum of understanding was signed between России and State Grid in the year 2018 in Beijing regarding the digitalization transformation. President Putin announced digitalization revolution in 2018, and России also published the Power Grid Digitalization Transformation 2030 strategy. State Grid has been engaging the smart grid for almost 10 years. From this point of view, that's actually potentially we have a great opportunity to work together to mutually improve our power system from in terms of digitalization. The MOU signed 3 years ago. Unfortunately, because of pandemic, the project is on hold. Hopefully, this project will be still, we moving forward. All right, so this is the last part of the power industry. What's going to be the outlook of the power industry? I just checked. Some of you, let me see. Most of you actually are engineer or electricity students. So why do you choose electricity? What do you think the power system in the future will be? I think, in the 21st century, the power system will be definitely a bit different from the previous of what we think. In year 2015, the Paris Agreement has been signed in New York. And it's clarified that the temperature raise should be controlled within 2 degrees by the end of this century to save the temperature raise. China joined this agreement in the year 2016, and Russia joined this agreement in the 2019. Then the IEA, the International Energy Admission, already give this, the prediction in the future. In the future, what we mean future will be 2040. The global installed capacity will be changing. 54% of the thermal power will drop to 44%, and the wind farm and the solar wind and the solar will definitely be increasing in this stake. And from the power generation sector, it's going to be the same story, and the power generated from the thermal will drop from 54 to 44, which is allowed to tend to be the low carbon and the clean energy, and the non-fossil energy stake will be increased. China also made its commitment. In 2020, last year, President Xi Jinping announced our commitment. By 2030, China will realize its carbon emission peak. By 2060, China will be the carbon neutrality. What's the meaning of the neutrality? This is a net emission of the CO2. CO2 basically is the factors that raise the temperatures, and the power generation actually made a big problem with the CO2, and then we said, what we call, they have a crisis of a global warming. China already committed by 2030, our CO2 net emission will be the peak, and by 2060, the net emission will come to zero, which we maintain the balance of CO2 emission and CO2 absorbing. What do we have to do to realize this? Goal? China already gave the carbon neutrality strategy. By 2060 strategy, we think about the 2 sides. One is a demand side, one is a supply side. From demand side, we keep insist on the energy saving and the emission deduction. But from our side, as engineering in the power system, we think about the carbon neutrality in the power sector, probably we have to increasing the renewable energy and the nuclear power and the power storage. And from non-power sectors, there's some other improvement like electrification improvement. For example, the heating. In China, we start to use the electricity heating take place of the coal-fired heating. Just make sure in the winter time there's a less CO2 emission to the air. And the hydrogen generation is something also new technology. We'll probably think about in the future. I can assume in probably after 20 years, you will see the transportation, I mean the car, will be only electricity car and a hydrogen engine car. In United States, some company already working on the hydrogen, supporting the generated car to driving the car engine. Carbon capture, rebalance of carbon emission and absorbing will be probably the thing we have to do. But from our side, what we have to do is renewable energy, nuclear, and power storage. China already gave our 5 years plan to reduce the coal-fired coal-fired power plant and increase the renewable energy sectors. From 2020, the solar is only 11% and the 12% of the wind, becoming 8% and 18%, 18% and 18% of the both. Will account 36% of the renewable energy will be in 2025. And from power generation side is going to be the same story from a 3.4 to 9.4 and 6.1 to 11% by 2025. Also, in order to maintain the reliability of the power supply, the power storage system is also widely applied in China. That's what I say. Renewable energy is good, it's clean, but unfortunately, it's not reliable. So that slide will be probably the future power system by 2030. And this power system where power comes from the solar power, wind farm, hydro, and coal-fired, or maybe natural gas power, nuclear power plant, and goes to transmission line to the smart from a smart substation and through the smart grid and to smart substation and distribute to the householder and factories and the transportation offices and everywhere when people need the power. The story is about here. Usually we don't have a power storage, but given the renewable energy application, the power storage will be probably one factor in our system in the future. And the electricity vehicle charger will be there as well. I would like to say China already in the process of building this kind of a system for now. And I believe in 5 to 10 years time, our power system is becoming different. That's why I asked you, since you're choosing to be the engineer of the electricity sectors, what are you going to do in the future? What do you think the power system will be in the future? I'll come up with the last slide. I would like to say the renewable energy is great, but we have the challenges of the trilemma. What the meaning of the trilemma? Which means we request renewable and sustainable energy. We request renewable energy, but also we request low cost. Is there any idea we can have 3 of them? I think probably it's difficult for now. Renewable energy is not sustainable. But if you want to make it sustainable, you have to add the power storage. Then it's going to increase the cost of the power. Then if you choose this two, then you don't have this. If you choose the low cost and the reliability and the sustainable power supply, you don't choose renewable energy. So if you want to choose a renewable energy and low cost, then you don't have the sustainability. That's what we call trilemma. You are the engineer. You are the future of the electricity power. Tell me, do you have any idea to solve the energy trilemma? I think probably the challenges what we are doing right now. I have the last slide to share for the question number 3. Probably you can just leave your question, leave your answer in the chat box. Given the energy trilemma, which of 2 of the 3 factors, reliability, renewable energy application, and the low cost, would be your preference as a power engineer? This is a single option. You are choosing the reliability plus renewable energy, or you're choosing reliability and the low cost, or maybe you choose a renewable energy and plus low cost. Anyhow, you cannot choose 3 of them. You have the only option to choose 2 factors of the 3 factors. So what's gonna be your thinking? Are you going to choose 3 of them, or you have to find a solution to solve this problem? For me, I have no idea what to do. And if you are interested in that, you can leave your answer A or B or C. For me, I think probably I would think, you know, A. And B. All right, someone just mentioned B. A. Okay. So why B? Why B? Why 1 plus 3? Reliability, low cost. Then you give up the renewable energy. So I'm not choose B, and clear choose A. And any other answer? Why A and why B? Or maybe there's an answer D. Oh, there's another person choose B. I think probably for Russian, you'll be more than happy to choose B because you have an abundant natural gas, and you're not suffering from the pollution. You have a very big territory. You don't have to really suffering from this, the pollution. But the China people, we are actually have so many population. We are actually suffering from the pollution, and 70% of the pollution is coming from the power industry. As our power industry, people, we probably choosing reliability. That's definitely the one of the concern. And oh, sorry, we are going to choose the 1 plus 2, reliability and the renewable energy. And the cost probably are not the priority concern. So for me, only for me, I choose this. But for you, it makes sense you choose this. For Russian, you choose makes sense to choose this. But for Chinese, there's no option. We have to choose it. That's actually the only answer. For Russian, it makes sense to do that. But what about the Africa people? How do you think of how African people choose? Even they don't have power right now. If they're gonna choose, they'll probably also choose the number two. All right. This is my presentation. Thank you so much, and I will be here for a couple of minutes, and you can come with questions, and I can answer. You can leave your questions in the box, or you can just unmute and give them the answer. Here is actually the website of my company and the website of my office in the Facebook, and also it's my contact number, Russian number, and WhatsApp. You are free to add me, and we can communicate. And as you want, and just because of the pandemic, we can meet, and hopefully just one day we can meet together to talk about the story. It's open for questions now, so thank you so much for having you here, and I will be happy to talk about some questions. Let me see if there's a question at the beginning. Oh wow, you have Ida 24 Anton, Alexander, the city. how many digital substations in China, and what are the latest plan in the direction? Oh, I don't have the number of how many substations and digital substations in China. I have no, but I would like to say generally almost 80% from distribution sectors. Substation has been transferred to the digitalization, and I think probably 60 or 70% of a transmission, high voltage substation has been also transferred. And the new substation definitely will be only digitalized. And as just mentioned, the smart grid and digitalization will be our plan in the next 5 years. And in order to achieve this goal, the company already built up the big data department to collect the data from the substation and for maintenance and operation. Stefan 21, wow, from MPEI. Our premier, Mr. Li Peng, the former premier, also graduated from the MIA. Vada 22 University, Rossetti International Corporation. That's great. Wow. Korea 18. I'm a first year in the MIA. And have a HSK4 and then, wow, very good English. What advantage I have in the future for electricity? Okay, what's your advantage? I think first of all, you are in a great time. You are still 18, so you are really, really young, and you have a great future in the future. And you are very lucky to have this chance to involve into this transformation, digitalization transformation. I don't know your major if you are the electricity, electricity in the major. I think you probably were more focused on the IT system. I think the IT will be the more applicable in the future in the power system. Is China glad for international exchange of experience with the Russian student? Of course, this is what I'm doing right now, right? I personally will be more than happy to share my experience. And the answer AEC, great. That's a big problem with, this is a very technical problem, and I will leave it and give you an answer back. Vitaly, if I'm right. Would you please briefly tell me the power system development process? Yeah, I just mentioned a little bit. Government will be the regulator. They will approve our proposal and annually to build up the power generation and power transmission under the guideline of the government policy. The coming 5 years plan are more focusing on just I mentioned renewable energy application, power storage, smart meter, smart grid, and other infrastructures to help for the carbon deduction. If I was, okay. All right, that's the question. No problem. Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? And I will be more than happy to stay here to share my view with you and also learn from you. If you want, you can unmute yourself, and then we can keep doing that. Anything? Anyone? Anything? Or you can, if you don't want to talk, you can just leave your questions in the box. Meanwhile, my office is not open yet because of the pandemic. But if you guys really wanted to keep talking, first of all, you have my mobile phone number. Just text me or call me, and we can just keep talking. Or I'm fascinated. If you're okay with that, we can have a meeting face to face, have a cup of coffee to share my idea. If you want to learn more something about China, and definitely I will be more than happy to introduce. One more thing, I have some kind of a book, wrote by our chairman, by ex-chairman, UHV development, the ultra high voltage development, and the global interconnection, which is introduce the global, strategy of the transmission line. It's in Russian. It's translated in Russian. And I would like to just have a 5 books, delivery to Anna. If anyone wanted to have it for free, okay, 5 books I will send to you tomorrow for free. And, if anyone want it, you can call me, or you can just ask Anna to get it. Unfortunately, I don't have a sample in my hand, but this is a Russian book. It's quite interesting. You can Google it from internet. So Anna, what you think? And anything else you think is necessary we can talk about, or anyone wanted to talk about it? I'm entirely available to keep talking.
Коллеги, у вас есть еще вопросы? Потому что можно спросить сейчас любые вопросы по поводу Китая и, в принципе, спросить какие-то подробности, как о ведении бизнеса за рубежом. Или, возможно, вы с какими-то вопросами еще столкнетесь и сможете напрямую написать. А по поводу книги, действительно, кому интересно, напишите, пожалуйста. Мы обязательно вам ее передадим. So, no questions
Okay.
from
Great.
students.
Yeah, I have to really. First of all, I'm really sorry I cannot speak Russian. I don't know how much you really get it from my presentation, and I already give the presentation to Anna. If you wanted to get the version, I think it's for me it's okay. It's open information. You can just share my information to them, and I really admire your age. For you guys, you are 18, you are 22. It's a great. It's a great. You have to really take the chance to really get yourself educated, and hopefully you have a chance to visit China, or probably you have a chance to study in China, or probably you have the chance to work in my company, who knows. And my company annually, we are actually recruit university globally. We're gonna to post our recruiting information in our Facebook, and you're more than happy to deliver your resume, and we are happy to have you as our employee. And I understand that also there are a lot of Chinese students in the MII and in some other university, and also hopefully we can just keep the connection, and let's just meet up after pandemic, or we can keep talking through the WhatsApp, or telephone, and I'm more than happy to keep contact with you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for this time, and I'm sorry for the late because of the.
Thank you, and it was our. We apologize for this.
No problem at all.
Thank you very much for your time, for your very excellent presentation. For me, it was very interesting. Even I knew a lot about cooperation because I'm participating in the international cooperation between России and State Grid Corporation of China. Yeah. And we met personally and discussed a lot of issues on the worldwide agenda. But it was very interesting, and thank you that you allowed us to send your presentation to the participants. I will translate it to Russian by the beginning of the next week. I think it will be okay. And then we can send it, or maybe this is my email in the chat. Please send me if you want this presentation to this email.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So, and if there's a chance, Anna, there's some people would like to reconnect it. Yeah, or I would be more than happy to have a cup of coffee with them and to share afternoon and talking with everyone. And just let me know before, yeah, pandemic is one of the issue, but we have to protect ourselves, and hopefully everybody get vaccinated. I'm get vaccinated, so I'm very safe, and I'm very confident. So hope everyone will stay safe, and all the best, and yeah, and wish you good luck. So thank you, Anna, again. Thank you, the engineering from the MEI, and thank you, the Dimitri, and everyone. And it's again, it's my great honor. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I will talk later. See you. All right.
See you.
Okay. Bye.
Very much.
Oops.